Litfest is hoping to have answers to at the end of the two-day festival, which is currently underway at Sci-Bono in Newtown, Johannesburg. According to the organisers, the event will also pay homage to novelist, poet, translator and political activist Sol T Plaatje, drawing on the 100th anniversary of the publication of his native life in South Africa and marking the 140th anniversary of his birth on October 9th. Now, to tell us more, we're joined by Mail and Guardian Books editor and festival director Darryl Accone. Darryl, good morning. Welcome to Morning Live. Let's give it context. What inspired the M&G Festival and why was it inspired in the first place?
Right, well, way back in the 80s and 90s, we had the Weekly Mail Book Week. That eventually sort of fell away, and then we revived the festival in 2010. And every year we want to look at what's been written in South Africa, about South Africa, not only by South Africans, but it tends largely to be that. So it's fiction and non-fiction, novels, biography, memoir, which of course, you know, is a big thing. But this particular festival, because Native Life in South Africa was 100 years, it was published in 1916, and Wits University Press was publishing a new scholarly work called Native Life in South Africa, Past and Present, to sort of commemorate and celebrate that. And then we also realized, well, there's a major annual Sol Plaatje poetry anthology and competition that the European Union and Jacana, the publishers, run. And it seemed logical to take the celebration of the centenary with the book, the poetry competition, which is, you know, named after Sol Plaatje. And of course, you know, what better date can you hope for than that his birthday falls on a Sunday, which is, you know, actually today. It's Sol Plaatje's birthday. So it seemed very logical to focus on him and the importance of that book. You know, Moody, his great novel, is very well known. Probably the first great African novel, one of the great novels in world literature, and written well before Chinua Achebe's Things Fall Apart. But Native Life in South Africa is, everybody talks about having read it, but very few, it's like Moby Dick or Don Quixote. Everyone, you know, knows Native Life in South Africa, but not that many people are really familiar with it. And it's such an important book because it speaks to even what the students are talking about now with Fees Must Fall, all the structural inequalities in South Africa. And, you know, he wrote it, started writing it after the Land Act in 1913, and the opening line of the book, I can't remember exactly, but it goes something like, you know, on the morning after the Land Act was passed, native South Africans woke up dispossessed of their land, their heritage. So it's a book that still speaks to all our issues today, and that's why we chose this as the theme for this year.
Let's talk about yesterday. What happened yesterday and what can we look forward to today?
Okay, today there's a major, this morning at 9:30, a panel session on MK and books about MK. A lot of books recently. There's a big history by Tula Simpson, and then three MK fighters. Stanley Manong, who was a commander in Umkhonto we Sizwe, Fanele Mbali, the two of them wrote autobiographies, and then Terry Bell spoke to Amin Kaji. His book is called Ford's Bird Fighter, the first sort of South African Indian person who signed up. So that's going to be all about MK, and then we follow up with the European Union Poetry Anthology event where the winning poets will be announced, and there's a whole lot of poetry performance there. But yesterday, two of the sessions were devoted to Sol Plaatje, the one looking very intensively at the Native Life in South Africa, the book and what it says today. And then the opening session of the festival was a fascinating a session with writers like Lidudu Malingani, the Klein Prize winner, Percy Mabandu, Linda Kushler-Nkosi and Luandile Fikeni. So they, from a completely different generation, they're all in their late 20s, they were talking about native life now. I mean, what the lives of South Africans is like today. It was a wonderful kind of session. And then we also looked at publishing and the challenges and problems of publishing in South Africa. If more time should be devoted to that special relationship between editors and writers. We looked at white writing and what that means. And there was a very interesting zine-making workshop, so a very hands-on thing for people, just to show people if they want to produce their own newsletter, their own zine, their own magazine, their own community newspaper. That was a very nice thing done by Alphabet Zoo. So it was essentially the whole day was about working with words and talking about working with words. And there was a big session on Marikana with journalists who'd reported on it and academics and researchers, you know, who produced. There have been lots of books on Marikana. So that was interesting to see the differences in perspective from people who actually there at the time and the emotional trauma for everybody involved, and then researchers who can go back later and speak, to everybody in slightly more comfortable circumstances.
So today, people who want to come, what are the details?
Right, it's at Sci-Bono in Newtown, as you said. It's 50 Rand per session, but 25 Rand for students, scholars and pensioners. You can buy tickets at the door. And the first session starts at 9:30, and as I said, it's this big session about MK. And then at 11:30, there's going to be a lot of poetry. It's going to be very nice. Word and sound will be there. Some of the shortlisted poets. So if you love poetry or you just like listening to poetry being performed or recited, that's the session for you. And then there is an after party, but that moves. It's going to be at the Cosmopolitan. You know the Cosmopolitan in Maboneng? So I think that'll be nice. You can either discuss what was going on at the festival or you can just relax. And party.
Darryl, thank you so much.
Thanks,
Darryl Accone is the Mail and Guardian books editor, speaking to us about the 7th annual Mail and Guardian Literary Festival. It's called the Litfest, which is currently underway at Sci-Bono in Newtown. $50 will get you into one of the sessions. All right, let's take a quick ad break. We'll give you sports news after this. Stay with us.